something I've never figured out. Why is the oldest Y on the river side of the flood wall? And the reason I'm asking is I flew my drone over the top of it. I've been flying it just to look down the roof because the roof is like 50% gone, disappeared. I could see water dancing inside the oldest Y, probably about 4 foot deep like it was outside. So that tells me, unless I could be 100% wrong, but that tells me that the floors have disappeared. So one question, y'all run with it. Why is it on the river side of the flood wall, the only building in Frankfort on the river side of the flood wall? 2, how's the damn thing still standing up? Whichever one of y'all wants to go first.
You go ahead, Eric.
Well, the why it's still standing is what you and I have talked about before because of the construction of it. Because you said it was like 3 layers of brick thick. The walls are. And I'll let Buddy go into that in detail. Yeah. It's a difference in the construction of when we built things to last versus when we built things now. When we build things for economy and to meet a minimum code. I don't know why it was on the wrong side of the flood wall. That building, I've been in Frankfort since 95, and that building has been decrepit and needing to be shoved over into the river at least since 95. And I don't, was there an intent and hope that maybe it would just slide into the river one day?
I don't know, because, I noticed it when I was leasing the Frankfort Boat Dock head boat.
And that was back in what, 94, 35?
Starting in 89 to about 99. So I was on, had that, and then me and Jim Priest bought Lee's. And you go by it and you just wonder, why in the heck is it on the riverside of the flood wall? That's the oddest thing in the world. I'm sure there's some engineering reason, but that means the federal government just gave up on the building. And so, Buddy, you got some...
Well, yeah, the flood wall was, I know because I was displaced. I actually lived at the end of Shelby Street and the feds paid me to move to get out of my apartment when the flood wall came because there was a certain amount of houses that, in fact, the one house that sits at the end of the bridge, the Capitol Avenue Bridge, that house was moved from the end of Shelby Street.
Oh, it was. I didn't know
They
that.
picked that thing up. That was such a historic house. They picked that house up and moved it. And the reason it's on the wrong side of this is one of the sore spots, man, ever. The reason it's on the wrong side of the flood wall is because the Corps of Engineers knew when they finished the flood wall and when they started planning the flood wall in 92 and 93 that the building was garbage. They said, we're not even going to try and save it. We're just going to we'll just build around it,
I reckon, because, the flood wall, you can't say the bridge is part of it. The bridge is the reason, because on the other side, the police department side, it's right up to the base of the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
They built around it. They went out of their way to build around the.
That's
Otherwise,
that's 35 years ago.
Otherwise, they would have had to went through it, right?
Yeah.
They would have had to go around it one way or the
They
other.
could have went to the inside of it, though.
Yeah, but they didn't. They obviously 35 years ago it was it's garbage.
How close is it to the bank?
It's on the bank.
Like if you put the flood, let me rephrase that. If you put the flood wall on the opposite side of the building to include it in the protection zone, would it put the flood wall too far out and on stable ground?
You'd have to move it 20 feet.
But would it be unstable ground for the flood wall?
Well, it's on the other side. It's on the bank, so it might be 5 feet closer at the most to the river.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It wouldn't be no more than that. It wouldn't have to be built out. But if they put it on the police side up to wherever, up to the Capitol Avenue Bridge, wherever it ends at, they had to go down in the ground anyway to hold the water back. And obviously, everybody. I just saw a post just 2 seconds ago. Somebody saying the flood wall wouldn't hold the river off of 2nd Street School. Obviously, it did.
Yeah.
but it's still going around.
All right.
But they had to put it far enough in the ground that it held up against 48.6 feet of water. Just 2/10 or 48.4 or 48.2 feet of water
traveling at X number of cubic feet per second too. I mean
fast.
That's
fast. So that's a lot of pressure on it. And so it's just one of them things people don't really think about. But why is the Y on the riverside, the oldest Y?
I would love to talk to somebody who was in the room when that decision was made.
Right. I mean, I don't know.
What was the thought process?
And why did they do it?
Yeah.
They had to go out of their way to do it, right?
Yeah. Because it was. We're sitting here laughing about it.
They either went out. They would have either went out of their way to.
We're sitting there laughing about it because it's so funny.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a conscious decision.
Yeah, it's not logical.
I mean,
they made the decision. Screw that building. It's done.
Right. It was a conscious decision because they would have either went through the building. There was 3 paths.
Yeah.
Through the building, included or excluded.
Man. So no, Craig.
And I think excluding it actually would have diverted the wall more using more material. I mean, we're only talking about a couple feet of wall more, but still, it used more material to go out of the way.
Well, Craig, you talked about the construction. Yeah. And the first thing that hit me when I saw your very first video of the old Y.
The oldest Y. There's the oldest, then the old Y.
Yeah. Now, the old Y is still being torn down.
Yeah, the old
6
Y,
months later, we
not
still
the oldest. The old Y is gone.
Right.
It looks like cobble. I mean, it looks like
it's gone. So we got rid of the old Y, but not the oldest Y.
Yeah. So
that's on a river full of water that ain't got no floors.
So go
or a roof.
So go listen, y'all. Go to Craig's page, and look at the drone video, and what you're going to see is you're going to see a few. There may be a few rafters left. There's a few rafters that go in there and a few floor joists. But let me tell you how this was built. All right, back in the day, they didn't put floor joists, unlike joist hangers, and build them on top of stuff. Back in the day, they didn't have insulation. So your insulation was your solid brick. So you had one brick that was going this way on a running bond. Hold
your hands up so people can see.
One was going this way, one was going this way. But you had that third brick that was going in here. And if you go around town and you see like a half brick, you go, why's a half brick in there? Well, that half brick's in there holding those 2 walls together. Well, when they got up to right here, they left out a pocket. And then whatever they had, a 2x10 or whatever size, they put that in as in the brick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
They put it in the brick, and then they had a floor joist, and then they did it all the way down the line, and then they made the floor. Then they got more brick, and then they went up another 9 feet or 10 feet or however high the wall was, and they did the same thing. Well, basically what we've got down here at the old YMCA,
oldest YMCA,
the oldest YMCA, the old YMCA,
not the old Y, the old Y.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But basically, what we've got there, we've got freestanding brick walls.
Yeah.
Make sure everybody understands what you're talking about.
The floor joists are gone, so there's nothing holding them east to west, north to south. There's nothing in there holding those walls. So those walls, I mean, they're like 60 feet tall in the back, in the very back of that building. And you can see there's places where it's just crumbling. I mean, it's falling down. Like there's a window that's there's a window in the back that has got an arch. It's an arch window, but this much of the building is gone, and it's gone all the way down to the arch. And we sit here and laugh about it because it's ridiculous.
Well,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, because it's essentially 4 walls.
Yeah, yeah.
There's nothing to keep the walls from doing this, which is a heck of a testament to the strength of that wall,
Right.
and then you got the corners that are holding it up, upright. But that span between corner and corner is ridiculously strong.
Well, do you know what the lifespan of masonry cement today is? Masonry cement today.
Is that the same stuff they used back in the Roman days?
I'd always heard
I'm not talking about this stuff they did back, that they did, at the turn of the century in the horse and buggy.
Yeah.
Well, I'd always heard that it was 100 years for concrete.
Well, concrete. I can't speak to concrete, but the strength for masonry is 25 years for masonry cement.
The brick
Starts to deteriorate after 25 years.
Dang, my house is 30 years old.
Well, that doesn't mean it's going to deteriorate. It's starting to deteriorate. So that chemical process takes 25 years. I think concrete's like 42. That before it gets completely hard,
Yeah,
and then
it continues to
and
harden.
then but so think about the technology that we have today with masonry cement that takes 25 years to get hard, and then how long did it take? Stop it.
No, I'm laughing at you laughing at you. I'm laughing at you laughing at yourself telling the story.
Well, and how long does it take for that old because they were using Portland cement, lime. They were mixing that stuff, and you were counting on Junior to have the right mix design too, man. The lowest man on the totem pole
Is the guy mixing it?
was the guy mixing.
Yeah.
The peon.
Yeah.
We'll get to this, a little bit of that.
Now, you can't lay yet. No, you just go mix it and bring it to me.
Yeah, I've read that they won't they do not want to duplicate the cement, for lack of a better term, that they used in the Roman days, because it's still holding up.
Probably true. I don't know what they used. I mean, today we use Portland cement, sand, and if it's cold weather, they'll throw some stuff in it. But
Accelerant,
which is what calcium
ash.
carbon.
There's only a couple things in it. It's like fly ash, cement, sand, and water.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I mean, golly, and what is holding that seriously?
Well, do you remember when the chain link fence was on the front? You had to walk around the chain link?
Absolutely,
Why did they do that?
because
I mean, I know why, but
This is a death trap.
I just want you to say it.
I'm sorry. I guess because the building was falling down, the bricks were falling on people's heads.
Bricks were falling off the building.
Yeah, and
But then they took it away, so I guess all the bricks that were going to fall fell.
or they knocked them all down. And said, "This is good enough for now."
But if you look at the drone footage, there's bricks on the ledge
yeah,
that are, like they've been placed there maybe. I don't know, or they fell off and didn't fall all the way down. But still, another question I've got, and this is another logical question. I've asked many city officials why.
Logic went out the window 5 minutes into this
Right,
podcast.
but I've asked city officials why are they not moving on tearing the building down? I mean, it's obviously they've condemned houses in South Frankfort and forced them to be tore down for just Joe Citizen.
Right.
Had to tear his house down, or had to fix his roof, or fix his gutter, or change the wind out because it doesn't meet some code that they created. Why do they not go after the YMCA like they went after Kyle Thompson when he was city commissioner and having his troubles?
ooh, no, that's
City
good
spent
question.
well over $100,000,
Yeah.
and the State Journal run story after story after story.
well
on-
because
on
nobody
that-
put it in a text message. I mean,
No, I'm serious. I
No,
just
I-
wonder, why is the city not going after the destruction of the Y? Because it obviously is not a safe building.
okay,
With the same vigor, they went after a city commissioner.
let's talk about that because you've said some things. I feel 99.99% confident that anything that was built before 1989 has asbestos wrapped in it.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's all the piping and plumbing and everything is wrapped in asbestos. The paint in there is what year? 19
30-something probably.
I
I have no idea.
Okay, so it's
old.
It's lead paint.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So you
Even if it's been painted over, there's lead paint beneath
there's
it.
lead paint. Yeah, but it hadn't been painted. Look, they painted that with a brush. They didn't even have rollers back then.
The lead paint
You're
was
right, Eric.
painted.
You're right, Eric.
Well, but the lead paint would probably have been painted over with more lead paint.
Yeah, but I'm saying they didn't even have rollers back then. They were, they were painting with turkey brushes.
Buddy's so tired.
Horsetail.
Buddy's so tired he can't stop laughing.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just funny. And but then okay. Now, Craig, you talk about the tests that the firemen did.
On what?
On the sewer system in that building.
Oh, where they smoked it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now tell them what they do. Tell them what the test is.
They drop smoke down to see where there's leaks of any kind. Done it in my neighborhood, but I was there. I was at the Frankfurt Boat Dock when they did it, and all of a sudden, all this smoke starts coming out of the riverbank.
The riverbank.
And the storm sewer.
Right.
But so I called the fire department and said, "What the heck?" I said, "Something underground is on fire." Because I'd never seen nothing like that before.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the purpose of smoking the sewer lines, to see where there's leaks.
Right. Because it will eventually find its way out.
Yeah, it'll find its way up or whatever. But it just, I just never seen nothing like. And first off, I didn't know they smoked sewer lines. I had no clue. But to see it coming out of the ground, and then out of the sewer pipe, real heavy. I thought the Y had a basement. It was on fire. Is what I thought. In the 90s. But they said, "No, we're over there doing work." And I said, "Okay, I just will let somebody know."
And not a single person I know who's an environmentalist has said one word about the lead paint
Or the asbestos.
and the asbestos going right in the river.
Well, I was going to say, do you think it's actually gone in the river?
I bet there might be some left. I bet most of it's gone.
Well,
there's a couple things
there was 4 feet of water in it just the other day.
on asbestos. It becomes dangerous when it's released into the air and you breathe it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know what the harm of it is, if any, in water.
I'll tell you an example. That when I was working third shift in the state office building, there was a piece about 2 foot long that they came in. The son of the company's owner was there doing it. They were doing it on third shift. They put plastic sheeting, 2 layers of plastic sheeting. You had to access it through the women's restroom. 2 plastic sheets on the door. Then they had a door in the wall. Had to remove that. They covered that. They're in complete suits with breathing masks. They go in there, put soap on it, so to cut this one piece out so they can repair the pipe. Put it in a bag, triple bag it, seal it. I'm walking out like it's nothing, going to the bathroom. They got them little breathing machines, you see, and I don't know what's going on, and just see it. And the dude that's the boss, he's at the other end of the floor. We're right next door to it. They didn't even tell us they were there.
Oh, wow.
So I said, "Are we breathing this stuff in?"
Well, no, like that insulation, if it's not bothered, if it's intact and not crumbling or falling apart, it's fine. It's when they cut it and it releases the particles,
Correct.
which is what the soap is for, is to make it damp and stick together so it doesn't become free flowing.
And that's what they did that day. And
But the lead paint in there, I mean, you think about the buildings, that brick, it's getting wet, it's getting hot, it's flaking off. So regardless, I said in jest it was been, the lead paint has been painted over, but as soon as it flakes off, the lead paint is not painted over anymore.
That building has been closed longer than I've been alive.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been closed longer. I'm 58, and that building has been closed longer than I've been alive.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it'd been closed that long.
I'm typing some stuff.
I was thinking they closed that down in like the 70s.
Well, I was born in 67, and the cornerstone on the new Y says like 69. So I think it was closed before.
The new Y that they're working on tearing they're working on tearing down.
That is now the old Y. Yeah.
That they
Yeah.
Well,
So-
it didn't take no time to get the old Y, which is the one we all played ball in and swam in and, did everything there because they want to run a road from Broadway over to the Mayo Underwood building. But, I'll ask the question again because I don't think y'all answered it. Why is the city not going after the owners of that building? Because I constantly hear there's lawsuit after lawsuit. The owners suing the city or something. Why do they not follow through? This thing is drug on for a decade.
If you want a serious answer, you'd have to look at are there family connections there?
But it went on before that. They were suing them before that. I think the owners bought it for $1, literally $1. Then they tried to sell it back to the city for $60,000, and the city said no because it probably cost more than that to tear
Can we
it down.
just give them a refund of $1 and?
I don't know if they can condemn a house.
Okay,
They can condemn the Y.
It's going to be a boutique hotel.
There ain't no floors in it, buddy.
Just
Matter of fact, something I noticed.
Just saying.
I also noticed when I was flying the drone, and I just went over to the road. Remember me taking pictures from the road, and you could see the trees growing inside the building, and the leaves were up against the windows. Right. They've taken those windows out and put plywood up there now.
There's like 3 windows left in that building.
Yeah, but did they put the plywood in there so I wouldn't take no more pictures of the beautiful trees growing inside of there?
Oh, they've added that since.
Yeah.
How did they get up there?
From the outside, I'm sure. They couldn't go on the inside.
No.
But
So somebody has been there and done something to the building. And that hasn't been, what, a year ago?
right, yeah, I took pictures last year.
Last
Just
fall,
splashed
before
them
it
all
got
over
cold?
Facebook. Look, they got trees growing. The thing is huge. Great big leaves.
That had
in
been
it.
last spring, I think, because
And there's greenery in it right now I haven't posted the video.
it's a botanical garden. That's why they're not tearing it down.
If you don't talk about it, it'll go away.
Nah,
Maybe.
not on this one.
Yeah.
Because I remember how hard the city went after Kyle Thompson. They got to go after this building. This is ridiculous.
And it's something actually
It's not safe.
Right.
It's not
they'll
safe.
They'll condemn somebody else's house, or they'll make them change their gutters, or their windows, or their front door.
I guarantee you, they're gonna make a bunch of people fix their electric that are in the flood.
Well, they're putting up temporary electric. Temporary electric. You know what that
Yeah.
is. Temporary electric now, so people can get electric to their house to clean up. Their
I
house.
guarantee you, they're gonna make them get new boxes. But this
Right.
this YMCA deal, and look, you can scroll through my stuff. I'm for getting rid of it, and I've been for getting rid of it for a long time.
I just don't think it's fair to the people. They've condemned buildings, but they're letting this one go. I don't think it's fair.
But it's in a lawsuit, Craig.
It's been in a lot. Well,
It's tied
then,
up,
then
it's tied
take
up
it
in
to
court.
Take it to court.
It's tied up in litigation right now.
For what?
For
When was the
60
last
years, I
time-
think, is for what?
Right. When was the last time somebody went to court on it?
Wait a minute, is it in circuit court or is it in district court?
I have no clue. I just know there's lawsuits filed, and then that's all you hear.
Okay.
Well, do you not ever follow through on the lawsuit, or is it just a perpetual lawsuit?
That's what we're always told, though. When you say something about it and it goes, "Oh, there's a lawsuit. We can't do anything."
Right.
And
Well, when was the lawsuit filed, and when was any action taken on the lawsuit? Did it go to court? Has it been to court? Because surely it'll lose. Any engineer will say the thing should be tore down. Yeah. And I'm not an engineer. I just went to high school.
I got an idea.
I like trains.
Why don't we do a study on the building